The Pilatus PC-6 Porter is a single-engined STOL utility aircraft designed by Pilatus Aircraft of Switzerland. First flown in 1959, the PC-6 was produced at Pilatus Flugzeugwerke in Stans, Switzerland. It has been built in both piston engine and turboprop-powered versions. On the 4th of May 1959, the first prototype, powered by Lycoming GSO 480B1A6, 340 horsepower piston engine, made its maiden flight. The prototype serial number was 337 and it received registration marks Hotel Bravo Foxtrot Alpha November. In 1960, an internationally constituted Swiss Dhaulagiri Himalaya expedition with the leader Max Iselin, supported by a glacier aircraft, the Yeti, attempted the peak by the northeast spur of Dhaulagiri. This mysterious glacier aircraft, the Yeti, was the prototype of the Pilatus PC-6 with registration marks Hotel Bravo Foxtrot Alpha November. During the expedition, the PC-6 made the world record for the highest landing of a fixed-wing aircraft at 18,865 feet, 5,750 meters, on the Dhaulagiri Glacier in Nepal. The expedition on May 13 reached the summit, but unfortunately on May 5, 1960, at 10:15 Yeti, crashed on takeoff at the Dambush Pass, after the rubber grip of the control column broke off. The pilot Emil Wick, and pilot Ernst Saxer were unhurt. After this accident, the Yeti has been left there at an altitude of 5,200 meters. Despite its unfortunate beginning, Pilatus PC-6 was a commercial success as a short takeoff and landing multi-purpose aircraft that could be used in various difficult conditions such as mountain expeditions, polar expeditions, as a transport aircraft, military or observation aircraft, and finally widely used in skydiving. The PC-6 is noted for its short takeoff and landing (STOL) performance on almost any type of terrain. It can take off within a distance of 640 feet, 195 meters, and land within a distance of 427 feet, 130 meters, while carrying a payload of 2,646 pounds, 1,200 kilograms. During its early service, the PC-6 Porter was noted for its high level of comfort and usability against competing aircraft.
Pilatus Porter means versatility. Takeoff from airstrip, landing on snow. Just a routine operation for Pilatus Porter.
An aircraft suitable for mountainous country, the Pilatus Porter PC-6 has long been associated with the name of Hermann Geiger, a Swiss pilot specializing in glacier landings who used it for tasks such as mountain rescue, transporting fodder and equipment of ski lifts.
A report has come in. Someone is injured in the mountains and needs urgent help. Once again, Hermann Geiger, the famous Swiss glacier pilot, takes off in one of his 3 Pilatus Porters. Many such flights have convinced Hermann Geiger that Pilatus Porter can be relied upon. Pilatus Porter is also becoming the first choice of skiers who want to save time to get to those beckoning slopes fast.
In early May 1961, the first turbo porter, powered by a turbomecha, a Stazu 2 turboprop engine, performed its initial flight, and the PC-6 becomes the PC-6A. The prototype serial number was 515. In comparison to its earlier piston engine-powered incarnation, the Stazu 2 equipped turbo porter had an increased gross capacity and top speed, as well as benefiting from the engine's automatic handling functions. These benefits came at the expense of a greater initial purchase cost and higher fuel consumption. Both the piston and turbine engine versions of the PC-6 became quickly known for their short takeoff and landing capabilities, requiring only a very short takeoff run before being ready for rotation prior to taking off. In May 1964, the first PC-6B with registration number November 1, 87 Hotel equipped with the Pratt & Whitney Canada PT-6A engine performed its first flight. In the following years, the aircraft was equipped with more modern and more powerful power units of Pratt & Whitney Canada PT-6A engine. Later, the most popular model became the PC-6/B2H4, equipped with a derated PT-6A27 engine with improved airframe structuring and extended, upturned wingtips, and more than 300 aircraft of that type were built, which accounts for more than half of all models produced. The Porter was also manufactured under license by Fairchild Hiller in the United States. Roughly 100 of these license-produced aircraft would be completed, being mainly purchased by civil operators within the U.S. A number of Fairchild-Hiller-built PC-6s were also procured for military operations during the Vietnam War. Because the Pilatus PC-6 proved itself in difficult conditions, where short takeoff and landing was required, and thanks to the fact that it could be equipped with skids, it was widely used in the 1960s and 1970s in polar expeditions. Among the most famous are British Antarctic Survey and Japanese Antarctic Research Expedition, JARE. The UK operated a PC-6/B1H2. Serial number 619, ordered specifically for this use in 1966. Sent from Southampton to Deception Island loaded on the Pearl and Dan, the PC-6 arrived on January 7, 1967. Reassembled in the hangar of the British Antarctic Survey Base, it carried out its test flight on January 13, 1967. The aircraft operated primarily from base bases at Deception Island, Adelaide Station, and Fossil Bluff. The aircraft was damaged during takeoff on February 26, 1968 on Stonington Island. The pilot and the two scientists were able to join, thanks to the 8 sled dogs and their team, the station of Fossil Bluff distant of 300 kilometers, from where they were recovered on December 21, 1968. The place of the crash is later named by the pilot as Port Nunatak, mound entirely covered with hardened ice. Visible elements of PC-6 served for many years as a landmark. Japanese Antarctic research expedition took place from 1968 first at Mizuho Station and later, near Saiwa Station in Antarctica. Japan used 2 PC-6s for its missions in Antarctica. The first, a PC-6/B2.H2, serial number 800, registered Juliet Alpha 8221 from 1979, carried out several missions for the Japanese Antarctic Research Expedition, JARE, from the Saiwa Station. The aircraft suffered an accident on March 4, 1993. Repatriated to Japan, it is now on display at the Ishikawa Aviation Plaza Museum at Komatsu Airport. The second Pilatus, the PC-6/B2.H4, serial number 861, was registered Juliet Alpha 8228 on March 14, 1988. After several missions in Antarctica, it was sold in early 2007 to the United States. From the very beginning, Pilatus PC-6 was widely used in the Army due to its functional characteristics. From 1964 the aircraft was used by the CIA in Southeast Asia during the Vietnam War and in support of the CIA's during the Laotian Civil War. The Australian Army Aviation used 6 Pilatus PC-6 Porters with the 161st Independent Reconnaissance Flight during the Vietnam War, with major maintenance being carried out by Air America in Saigon. These aircraft carried out transport missions, target marking, aerial photography, electronic surveillance, psychological warfare, equipped with loudspeakers. Austria uses Luftstreitkraft PC-6s within European Union Force Althea in Bosnia and Herzegovina. From the very first days of the French Operation Servile in Mali in January 2013, a PC-6/B2H4 turboporters from the 9th Army Light Aviation Airmobile Support Regiment were used within the Airmobile Group. Pilatus PC-6 Porters were also used by Fuerza Aérea Mexicana, which is the air branch of the Mexican Army, and many other countries like Peru, Iran, Burma, Argentina, Thailand, and Angola. The great popularity of the aircraft in skydiving is due to its STOL characteristics, and a unique feature of the braking propeller called beta propeller. Beta mode operation of the propeller is used in flight to effect fast deceleration and high rates of descent. In the beta range, the propeller blades are set at a low positive pitch angle to provide a braking effect for steep controlled descents. When operating in the beta mode, the propeller pitch angle is controlled by power lever movement between the lift detent and the point where constant speed operation becomes effective. In a beta descent, it is possible to maintain approximately 4,000 feet per minute rate of descent, while remaining below 100 knots. This feature allows quick returns to the airport for the next group of skydivers. Initially, PC-6 was powered by the Lycoming GSO engine, from May 1961 by Turbomeca Stazu turboprop engine. Another engine that became available for the PC-6 was the Garrett Air Research TPE-331, but from May 1966 the majority of aircraft are powered by a single Pratt & Whitney Canada PT-6A turboprop engine. Development of that power plant caused in the later period. There are more versions of this engine, and so version 20 with 550 shaft horsepower, version 27 with 680 shaft horsepower, and version 34 with 750 shaft horsepower, were used in the PC-6. The first Pratt & Whitney Canada PT-6A turboprop engine was certificated in December 1963. The first application was the Beech Queen Air. The PT-6A27 develops a maximum permissible power rating of 680 shaft horsepower. The engine has a three-stage axial, single-stage centrifugal compressor driven by a single-stage reaction turbine. Another single-stage reaction turbine, counter-rotating with the first, drives the output shaft. Fuel is sprayed into the annular combustion chamber by 14 individually removable fuel nozzles mounted around the gas generator case. The airframe is of rugged, and low-maintenance construction. The design uses conventional semi-monocoque construction techniques, frames, ribs, stringers, reinforcements and skin panels, for the wing, fuselage, and empennage. The primary structure is built of 2024 aluminium alloy sheet, and extrusion. The fuselage is equipped with a hinged door on both sides of the cockpit and a large sliding door on both sides of the cabin. Optional trapdoors can be fitted in the center of the cabin floor. The trapdoors can be opened and closed in flight by the pilot. With its high wing and propeller ground clearance, and its undercarriage with high bump absorption, the turboporter is much less susceptible to damage from rough airstrips than aircraft with a conventional nose-wheel type undercarriage. Early models of the PC-6 were equipped with a full analog instrument panel as standard. Flight instruments are arranged in a standardized pattern called the T-arrangement. The attitude indicator is in the top center, airspeed to the left, altimeter to the right and heading indicator under the attitude indicator. The other two, turn coordinator and vertical speed, are usually found under the airspeed and altimeter, but are given more latitude in placement. Later manufactured PC-6s are equipped with a Garmin G950 glass cockpit. Two large 10.4-inch liquid crystal displays are present, functioning as the primary flight display for all key flight information, and the multifunction display for system and mission management. Primary flight display provides all the important flight information for the pilot, including attitude, airspeed, altitude and vertical speed, and navcom tuning. Other optional features include an autopilot that provides an automatic flight capability in all the phases of flight. PC-6 is equipped with the fully reversible, constant speed, 3-bladed, HC Beton 3D, Hartzell aluminium propeller, driven by the free turbine through a reduction gearbox. Alternatively, from mid-1980s, PC-6 could be equipped with a 4-bladed HCD4 and 3P propeller. Due to its STOL characteristics, Pilatus PC-6 Porter is widely used by private operators in areas where there are difficult takeoff and landing conditions, such as mountains, bushes, and remote areas. Pilatus PC-6 can land either on or off airport. Typical off-airport landing areas include snow or ice fields or gravel riverbanks, where a landing with the use of special fat or low-pressure tundra tires is performed. These areas are often extremely short and obstructed by tall trees or hills. Runway length requirement is the most important factor to use Pilatus PC-6 as the STOL aircraft. Of equal importance to short ground run is the ability to clear obstacles, such as hills, on both takeoff and landing. For takeoff, large power-to-weight ratios and low drag result in a high rate of climb required to clear obstacles. For landing, high drag allows the airplane to descend steeply to the runway without building excess speed, resulting in a longer ground run. Wheel skis and amphibious floats combine wheels with skis or floats, allowing the choice of landing on snow or water. From the very beginning, there has been the possibility of equipping PC-6 with floats. First tests are carried out on Lake Lucerne, with the Porter serial number 540, and then in Sweden, a country of lakes, Saab continues these tests. Nowadays many PC-6 users have installed floats temporarily, based on seasons or missions. After nearly 600 deliveries in 6 decades, including about 92 Fairchild-Hiller-built, Pilatus closed the order book in the summer of 2018, while parts production will continue for at least 20 years. Due to pandemic delays, the last PC-6 Porter was instead delivered in December 2022 after 603 were produced in 63 years. The last Pilatus PC-6 built was ordered by the Indonesian company Smart Aviation. Leaving the Stans factory at the end of 2022, the 603rd and last Pilatus PC-6 built should have gone to Indonesia to its final destination, the company Smart Aviation. The aeroplane departed Bucks Airport on December 12 on a delivery flight to its new owner in Indonesia. The crew made a stop in Maribor and Podgorica, then continued to Heraklion. Unfortunately, on December 15, 2022, shortly after takeoff from Heraklion Airport, en route to Hurghada, the airplane climbed to an altitude of 1,400 feet, when the pilot reported problems, and declared an emergency. After completing a right turn to return to the airport, the airplane lost height and speed, then stalled and crashed into the sea off Carteros. The pilot, aged 26, was slightly injured, while the passenger, an Indonesian citizen aged 68, died shortly later. The airplane floated for a while, and then sank. Named France, the airplane was the last PC-6 built by the Swiss manufacturer. Such an unfortunate buckle closed the history of this aircraft, although it was a very successful design, which over the course of 60 years, proved the extraordinary qualities of the STOL aircraft, and the aircraft itself became an icon of its time.